Hello, princesses, and welcome back to Not Fit for Print Beauty with me, Rebecca. Today we have a really, I think, special video for you. We're going to talk about the brand new BYREDO Remembrance palette. Now, I am not the new kid on the block by any means. I am very familiar with BYREDO and their fragrances, of course, but not the brand's makeup. I have watched that from afar because if you know anything about my channel, you know I can be slightly suspicious of high-end luxury brands that break into makeup when it hasn't technically been their thing. But you know, I know beauty, fragrance, they are closely related. Of course I give Chanel and Dior and such a break, but other brands I sometimes can be suspicious of. So I admit I have watched BYREDO from afar, but this is enough to intrigue me. Look at the case here, and I'm going to show you. We've got 18 shades. We're going to look at them in two different lights, but we've got a nice kind of mirrored steel case with the Greek goddess of memory, the mother of muses, featured on the cover. That's reflecting the ring light. There we go. Isn't that cool looking? Now that you do pay a hefty price tag for the shades and for the brand names, it's BYREDO, so it is $100. Interestingly enough, I have it linked below in the description bar for at many different places, and interestingly enough, for a few different prices. It's $100 where I got it in the US here at Bloomingdale's, but I also have it linked at a few other places where it is oddly $105. No, I cannot explain it. Maybe someone else can in comments, but it's a nice weight. We've got 18 shades, so let's open this baby up. We've got a nice bee on the mirror there. And here we go. Here are the 18 shades. They're nice and soft. A little bit fell out from my swatches there. Let me get that out of the light so you can see it. We've got 18 light to dark, metallic, matte, and shine shades. Nudes, roses, browns. And this is, as you would expect, a limited edition palette. Look at that though. Look how many looks you can get out of that. To me, this is, and this is why I had to take the plunge and purchase it. To me, this is kind of the ultimate neutral nudes palette, warmer, cooler, just kind of anything. If you like to experiment with your fairly neutral nude eye looks, and I do, then this is the one for you. It kind of hits that sweet spot between wanting something different and new, but not wanting to go into like crazy festival type colors, right? So for me, this was hopefully the perfect palette. It's interesting when I was digging into these, and as I said, as I held it up, a few chunks fell out because it is very soft. When I was digging into these, I did find something interesting. The glitter shades seem to be a little bit, the glitter, once you get past it, it seems to be mostly metallic. Almost like the glitter shades have a slight overspray. To find this out for sure, I would really have to have dug in, and I didn't want to ruin my $100 palette. But it feels like as I got past the glitter, that's where it became metallic, and the glitter didn't stay. So you'll see more glitter in some of these swatches, but maybe not when we use it in the demo. All right, but let's look at this first in two different lightings. Here we have it first on my arm in studio lighting. Here are all 18 shades the way they are laid out in the palette. Nothing new there in terms of how you would look at it when you open it. Very beautiful. And then, of course, because you can't see it well unless you see it in natural lighting, let's take it outside into the warm California sunshine. Take a look at that there. You can really see the metallics in those shades. They are super, super pretty. I think BYREDO did it right. The question remains, what do you think on the pricing? Would this ever go on sale? I don't know. I mean, you know, possibly, certainly not on the BYREDO site, but maybe on some of the other sites. So I have here, I put some mascara on, and I of course have my base all done. But they have so many pretty shades in here. I thought really, let's just do two looks, one on each eye, just to try out some of the shades. And of course, one look on each eye still won't do it necessarily. Okay, so let's start here. These shades are numbered 1 through 18, really just 1, 2, 3. So let's start right here. I have some Sonia G brushes that I brought out. So this is shade 9, I guess. Okay. And we're just going to do that look on this eye. And it would be very easy to get day and night looks. I want to say, little bit more here. I want to say that this feels like the only palette you would ever need. So it feels like if you were to purchase this, you wouldn't ever have to purchase another. The thing is that the people who are interested in this sort of makeup aren't the type of people who would purchase just one palette forever. So it's kind of, we're going to go over here to shade 11. So in that sense, it's kind of self-defeating. If it bills itself as the only palette you'll need, going in with another Synergy brush, that's not the types of us who would buy this, is it? Okay, so this is a very, I'm not trying to make a, we don't like to call ourselves boring, those of us who like these type of shades. All right, and I'm going in here, 12, just to lift the corner and add a little bit of depth. I mean, these shades, they're really easy to use and really blendable. This is a very pretty palette. I understand what I said still remains, but I don't know if it would be the only palette it would be the only palette you'd ever need, but would you buy it that way? And this is shade number 5 that I am putting onto the lid. Look, this is gorgeous. If you know what this reminds me of a little bit, you guys? Do you remember last year, not last year, but last holiday season, Burberry did the holiday palette, and I loved it so, so, so much. And this really reminds me of that Burberry holiday palette. And I'm going to put this shade here, I guess that would be lucky shade number 13, into the inner corner of the eye. So there's one look right there, done kind of in a bronzy way. It's hard to see with the other eye looking so different. That's really pretty. All right, let's do a more silvery eye this time around, switching up our brushes so that they are clean. Let's start with this. I put this over the inner corner, but let's actually dust the whole eye if we're going to do a kind of silvery look with this shade here, that lucky number 13 shade. Okay, I want to do a much more gray, kind of steel looking eye. Can't help but get some of these browns in there. Let's put a little bit of gold. After I said I was going to do gray. Don't listen to me, apparently. I know I need to get a matte in here, you guys, but I'm just kind of interested in this, in these metallics. This is a much gentler eye so far. Okay, this is a creamy shade right there. I wasn't telling you what I was using. Sorry, this is shade number 14. So I'm doing a kind of, I'm not doing bronze, I'm doing a gold silver. It's hard to do an entirely silver eye because that would be all glimmer shades, but that is very, very, very different. And you know, let's go for it here with shade number 1, which does seem to retain its sparkle. So I am going to, that doesn't seem to be an overspray on shade number 1, so I'm going to go wild and do a disco ball eye. Is there fallout? Yes, but I did apply it very quickly, and this one, shade number 1, is very glittery. So yeah, there's a little bit of fallout. How do you compensate for that? Well, you can do your foundation afterwards. You could do a dusting if you were to bake and brush it away, or you could be like me and simply go, I like it. I feel like I've been kissed by a fairy. So look at those. So we have two very, very different eye looks. This is a very kind of disco, nighttime, or office, choose your look. And this is a very kind of daily, I like to cover the eye because it's easier to see. But two very, I mean, they couldn't be more different looks. And, you know, we're used to that in palettes from like Natasha Denona and such. I'm not saying that that's a novel concept, but it kind of can be, other than like the Biba and such from Natasha Denona. It can be kind of a novel concept to have a palette that has sort of every nude or neutral look you could ever want. And you would think that these were from two different palettes. So it's beautiful. The question is, are you interested in it at that price? And yes, it's the only palette you ever need, but those of us who are interested in buying makeup from BYREDO are not the types who only have one palette, right? So it's a little bit of a dilemma there, but in terms of me for my first makeup BYREDO palette, I really like it. And I will personally, for me, not for review, but for me personally, I will use this a lot for me, this is a me type of palette, which it doesn't surprise me that this was my first purchase from them. Did you purchase it? Are you interested in it? And what are you going to say? I'm really curious about the comments. Are you guys going to say, Rebecca, I have this 20 times over. I'll just put together some other palettes. Are some of you just huge fans of the makeup from this brand? They do, of course, make much smaller palettes. I'm just kind of curious what you guys think of this palette and what other swatches and comparisons do you need over on Instagram. I'll compare this however you want. The Burberry comes to mind. The, oh gosh, there's so many, like I said, the Biba. So, you know, what do you need compared? Make sure that you ask me here or over on Instagram, as I'm super happy to do this for you. Just let me know. Give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. I sure hope that you did. Hey, if you haven't already done so, make sure that you subscribe to this channel so we can continue to grow. Come over and say a big hello and give me a follow over on Instagram and on TikTok too. And don't forget that you can become a bigger part of this channel by becoming a member or by giving super thanks. But in any way that you choose to be here, I'm just happy to see you, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. Bye-bye.